What's up, guys? Dark Dally here, back at my runway in Villa Verde. I want to do some testing individually on these rifles, the same sniper rifles which I tested the bullet drop on in a previous video. Now if you haven't seen that video, a link to that will be at the end of this and also in the description, so check that out if you haven't seen it. I'm going to go ahead right now and post on screen the results of the bullet drop from all the rifles I tested. Now I want to reiterate, this is just bullet drop. This is not saying one rifle's better than another, and it's just a baseline because this test that I did, that I'm talking about now, I did with no modifications on the rifles. They were completely stock. Now, I also want to say there's lots of other places I could test this besides at this runway. There's several other runways in the game. The Salt Flats of Kawani are also a great place to test long-range shots on level terrain. But I'm going to continue testing here because I have a good baseline here. I got a good wall that I shoot at. I've got, you know, marks and everything all set up. And so that's why I'm testing here. Now, I already actually did a video testing modifications for the L115A3, and some of you may have seen it. I posted it last night, and I came to an incorrect conclusion that the G28 was affecting bullet drop, and I've already posted another video where I found out, thanks to your comments, that that was just a glitch. So, you know, let's move past that. The G28 scope is not centered, although it's still useful for combat situations where you're not trying to bullseye a target. I do want to say that. The G28 scope, let me just go ahead and pull this up here. Let's go to my loadout just real quick. I do want to take a quick aside, and let's throw this sucker on here. Okay, now let's look through the scope. It's off center. The top of the red crosshair is actually where it shoots, so it makes it appear to have less bullet drop. And I showed this with the laser sight in my previous video where I corrected that mistake. But if you're shooting at a man, it actually means, you know, if you just shoot center mass like this shot here, it actually kind of makes things handier in combat as long as you recognize that the scope is not accurate, because it means you have to count for less bullet drop. But if you're trying to hit something precise, and we are talking about precision, you do not want to use the G28, which is highly unfortunate. I'm going to continue using the T5XI. It's my scope of choice. Scope's not going to affect bullet drop, we know now, which just makes sense. So this is the only scope with anything 5 times, or, you know, with anything over 4 times zoom that's actually centered properly. So here we have a stock L115, all the normal parts with the scope. There's 2 things I want to test. First of all, the L115 cannot take any other attachments that would reduce bullet drop. It has no rail attachments, so and no other barrel attachments other than just a suppressor. So the only thing we can do is put a longer barrel on it. Now I've showed you the results that this rifle got stock. Let's go ahead and let's test to see how it's going to shoot with the longer barrel. First, let's take a little sighting shot just to make sure that we know what we're doing here. Get a baseline, and it's going to be the exact same result we got in the original video. I have the marker set in the same place, right at the top of the wall, and this is going to hit right at the very top of the second row of bricks near the bottom. This rifle drops a lot. One reason I wanted to test this rifle first. Okay, we're fairly centered. Let's take our shot. Now let's go see where it hit. Of course, we already know, but I just want to do this for a baseline. This video will be pretty quick. A lot of the other rifles have more things to modify, and we can go in more in depth with them. See, yeah, right there, you can see the bullet hole right there, right at the top of the second row of bricks. Now let's go ahead. We know, and we already know that if we put a longer barrel on, it's going to improve, or rather reduce, the bullet drop. So let's go ahead and let's put that longer barrel on there. And this is actually going to make it hit 2 bricks higher, you know, on this wall. Now I do all my tests for this at 350 meters. It's a good distance for normal, you know, engagement. And I've gone through this in a previous video. I'm not personally too worried about shots over a kilometer or, you know, anything like that for record breaking. I imagine people who do that do their own testing anyway. Actually, I know they do because I know a couple people who do those kinds of shots. And I like to for fun too. Kawani is a great place out in the Salt Flats to, you know, on a level elevation, take really super long shots. But I'm just looking for combat effectiveness in these tests. So let's go ahead and see where it hit. And sure enough, see, we went up 2 brick levels right near the top of the 4th row of bricks. And if you recall from the original graphic, that right there is about where most other sniper rifles hit, completely unmodified. So it's a bit of a shame that the L115 has so much bullet drop. It's also a shame, this damn weather. One thing I want to test with this is Suppressor. Does Suppressor affect bullet drop, and or does it affect travel time? Now, I've heard it does not affect bullet drop, but it does affect travel time. We've got the long barrel on. Let's go ahead and try this. I just realized I didn't even have to go there to attach a suppressor. So we know we already have a mark. I can actually see the mark right here. I can see the mark from here where we hit. Let's go ahead and throw on the suppressor and see if this makes any difference in the bullet drop. I don't think that it's going to, but I'm always down to test anything. Alright, so there we have our suppressed shot. Let's go check this out. And as you can see, it hit directly beside the other one. There's no difference in bullet drop with the suppressor, but there might be a difference in bullet travel time. And the way I want to do that is I'm going to take a shot suppressed and a shot unsuppressed. I'm going to use the thermal vision just because it's easier to see certain things with the thermal vision on when you're taking precise shots. And what I'll do is I'll simply count the frames between the initial recoil of the shot and the impact of the bullet, and let's see which actually has more travel time. First, let's go ahead and fire a suppressed shot. Let's fire it over here so we don't affect our shot group. We'll just, because it doesn't matter where we're hitting. We're still hitting the wall. Okay, I didn't get a... There we go. Okay, I got an impact there that I can measure. Okay, now let's go ahead and take the suppressor off. Now, why am I using thermal vision? It helps you see a lot of things better when you're taking long shots. It fuzzes out the background so you can see your crosshairs better. And the other reason is impacts. If you do it without this vision, if you do it with normal vision, you're going to see a puff of smoke, and that's not exactly indicative of where the bullet hits. I think that this is really a good way to do some testing. And there's our unsuppressed shot. So in editing, I'm going to go take these and see which one took longer to hit the target. Hey, what's up? Future me here. So the suppressed shot took 26 frames from the initial recoil to the hit on the wall, and the unsuppressed shot took 16 frames from the initial recoil to the shot, impacting on the wall, and that's all precise. So the suppressed shot, 26 versus 16, you could round it off and say that a suppressed shot takes almost, at least at this distance, almost twice the time to travel to the target. Alright guys, and that's really about it for the L115A3. Let's go ahead and have a look at it again. Because it has so few parts, really, well actually no, not really, definitely the only thing you can change on this to decrease its bullet drop is putting a long barrel on it. And let's go ahead to the barrel, and as you can see, that's also going to improve your damage and your handling a little bit if that matters, or it's going to decrease your handling, of course. It's going to increase your damage and your penetration just a little bit, and it reduces your bullet drop. Unfortunately, because this rifle has no rail, because we all know a rangefinder will affect your bullet drop. Muzzle attachments may or may not, but we have no compensators available. So that's it for this rifle, guys. You can improve it a little bit, but it really is a shame that a rifle with such a good record in real life and is known for such accuracy in this game has so much bullet drop. Now, does bullet drop really matter? I mean, does it mean anything? It's not like a standard by which you should measure your rifles or anything. It really doesn't mean anything. All it means is that this rifle has a different mil dot that you have to aim at and adjust for when you're shooting. That said, if you like quick sniping, then you're probably better off possibly using a semi-auto and use that G28 scope. Just know that it's not as accurate because it's off-center, but you have to adjust less. If you're just firing center mass on a man-sized target, you have to adjust less for bullet drop with it, and that's as simple as that. So that's the L115. I do want to go into these rifles one by one, and I've already got several requests on which one to do next. I want to move on to the others, and those videos will be a little more interesting because they have more parts that can go on them. So thank you guys so much for joining me on this video. I got really wet, and it's like, this is like a typhoon out here. Jesus, I need to get out of this weather. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Tell me what you think in the comments below. In the following videos, we will be going to the other rifles and seeing how much we can improve the drop with those, see what can be done. And then at the end, we're going to take all the rifles, compare them together, and see when they're fully modified, what can they do? I say that because some rifles might react differently to different mods. Some rifles may, want different mods on them. So we're going to see what works best for each one individually. Alright guys, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. My name is Dark Deli, and I will catch you all next time.